What's up, my beautiful listeners? Welcome to another episode of Unlocking Success with Eric Eclipse and myself, Rich Homie Vang. It's a beautiful day. How are you doing today, Eric?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Doing good. I like this synth wave we got going.
Yeah, switch it up, man. You go from the classic B-side coffee music or cafe music. We go back to the 80s with the synth music.
Feels like a Blade Runner.
Yeah, or some Tron shit.
Awesome.
Or listening to Dr. Disrespect.
Awesome.
You ever watch his streams?
I think the only streams I watched with Dr. Disrespect was when he was playing PUBG.
Those were his best.
Yeah.
That's when I first started watching.
Other than that, no.
Well, I don't even watch Twitch. Or I don't even watch gaming streams anymore. I'm assuming you don't either.
No. Not as lately. But that's not what we're talking about. Today we're going to give you some more information to help you unlock your definition of success. Today's topic is things poor people think rich people do, but actually don't. I got the idea of, this topic from some YouTube videos I was watching, just taking bits and pieces from each and just compiling a list. We can just dive right into it. So we'll go with number one. Poor people think the rich drive Ferraris and Lambos. So yes, although we do see rich people driving said super/hypercars in pictures and such, it's mostly because it's something they can afford, and I mean truly afford.
Yeah, not like with the past episode with like the $100,000 car with the $5K in the bank.
Yes, it's something they could buy, two of them if they wanted to. That's how much
in cash,
how much money they have. But it's something they can afford, and because they probably have multiple other cars. These cars are indeed flashy and attention grabbers. However, may not be the best choice to be used as a daily driver due to factors listed before as, being too flashy, being too much attention seeking, and, most having not the most comfortable interiors and little to no storage space. I'm not saying you're going to be going, you're going to be packing a shit ton of stuff in these cars, but say if you wanted to go for simple grocery shopping, you're not going to get a lot. We'll say, because I know for the Lambos, it's a frunk, so it's a trunk that's in the front because the engine's in the back.
So motherfucker's so big.
And I don't think you have a lot of space in those.
Yeah, you guys, your passenger seat, whatever's in the frunk.
And real wealth, typically want to avoid as much attention as possible. They're the I'm staying low key. You don't even know how much money I have. And it's usually the new money that are the attention whores, such as uneducated professional athletes or new TV personalities. It's as soon as they get that check, they think it's time to start spending and spending and spending, hoping that the money will continue to roll in. But as soon as it doesn't, it's over. In the side of the professional athletes, you look at, or say basketball stars or old basketball stars, or football or NFL stars and such. They're in the limelight and it's all good, but then after their peak performance decreases and they end up retiring, a lot of them
go broke.
Yeah, go broke, or they're not popping. I can't remember, but I think there's a lot that actually they'll pick up like regular day jobs. I think there was something I saw that you had a list for like top 10 pro athletes that picked up regular day jobs after their professional careers. And it's typically because with them being a professional athlete, yes, that money comes in, but they don't invest it and do smart things with it, so they continually have it. Like a lot of athletes nowadays, they have all these brand deals, sponsorships, and I don't know how they spend their money, but I'm pretty sure they diversify their portfolio into a bunch of different things. Because we'll say like, Shaq, with Gold Bond, or Icy Hot and stuff,
Pop Jones,
and it's like, oh,
the general.
Yeah, it's Shaq, but he's in these commercials. He's working for them, or they're paying him and such and so forth. They have some type of deal, so he has that that residual income coming in, even if he is retired. But most people, as soon as they get that money, it's I'm going to spend it all, or because I'm pretty sure more is going to come in, rather than being smart with it.
Yeah, nowadays self branding and self marketing is a lot of ways more important than like the thing that you're known for. So if you're a professional football player, it's more important to be like a brand off the field than on the field. That's why you see a lot of guys who have been in these leagues and whatnot struggle after, because they don't have any branding. Like, cool, you're a professional athlete, you made some money, but what the fuck can you give to us?
Yeah.
So that's a lot more important nowadays.
And don't get me wrong, driving supercars, hypercars can be a great experience from time to time. But most individuals that are able to afford said vehicles tend to steer toward luxury brand manufacturers, focusing on comfort and security. Like, Lambos are cool, but a lot of them, they'll get like Maybachs, Rolls Royces, G-Wagons, top of the line stuff. I mean, those do pack performance, but it's very luxury and comfort. And it's also with that, it's more so, it's not like vehicles you drive, it's vehicles you get driven in. It's what they'll steer towards. But even then, if you were to drive it, you still get that whole comfort experience. It's like, I'm driving nice, but it's not like everyone's looking at me.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes, or it's like you were mentioning earlier with the new money, but then there's a lot of that old money that just show up every once in a while, and they show it, which is dope.
Yeah. And if we want to example of this, we'll say like Jeff Bezos. Back when his net worth was only $10 billion, he was still driving the beater 1996 Honda Accord at $10 billion. Really frugal. Nothing flashy.
He didn't need anything else, man.
We'll say the same thing for like Warren Buffett. I think in this one video I saw, he was just driving like a really simple Cadillac. Nothing flashy. He's been living at the same house in what did I say here? Omaha, Nebraska, that he bought for $32,000 in 1951. Same house. Same house.
Respect, man.
Just a little townhouse.
Yeah.
Chilling. And I don't have the figures currently what his net worth is, but he's worth a lot, and he's just living frugal. I think at the one video he was still residing in that house in Omaha. He had that Cadillac. He'd be drinking it's like cherry Cokes, Diet Cokes, and be eating burgers from McDonald's. Frugal.
101.2 billion.
Damn.
Net worth. Yeah.
Frugal.
Well, yeah, there's especially nowadays. I mean, there's even a lot of new people, and this is the smart way to approach a lot of things. They don't give a fuck about like the materialistic aspect of it whatsoever. And a lot of times people do, and then they get it, and they're, this is it. Like, this is what it feels like to have these things. It's nothing special. And they probably just get rid of it.
Yeah, we're going to touch base on that towards the end. But so that's number one. Poor people think the rich drive Ferraris and Lambos, and others said supercars and flashy vehicles. Number two, poor people think rich people wear Gucci and other flashy brands. So, an extension to the last point, the act of being flashy and attention grabbing is not only limited to one's vehicle, but also includes what one decides to wear. Believe it or not, when it comes to fashion and luxury brands, those we tend to look up to or see in the limelight and are wearing said brands are most likely being gifted or paid to wear, their clothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of the image for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win-win. It's like, if said individual is a quote-unquote social media influencer and a lot of people are looking up to them, and we put our clothing on them, it's just going to drive the people following that person to think, all right, because that person is rich and famous, and they're wearing this type of clothing. If I buy said clothing and wear it as well, I should be able to become rich and famous too.
Here's an example. It's not clothing. Lady Gaga, the Kanye clip, the creative director of Polaroid. Lady Gaga did, I don't know this for sure, but I would assume Lady Gaga didn't do shit as far as having the knowledge base of a camera. No, it's Lady Gaga. Polaroid associates themselves with her just to drive in views and whatnot. It's pretty simple.
Where was I? Yeah, it's like association does not equal correlation. Has some statistics type knowledge you should learn if you took statistics in school. But if you don't, association does not equal correlation. But back on the topic of luxury brands, luxury brands used to typically be for older people. But it was until the marketing folks understood that they could sell to the young and the poor, the rise in consumption was driven to a max. It's stated here that, the rise in consumption of what used to be luxury brands is driven by Western teens, millennials, and most of the middle class. 55% of Gucci's sales, I believe, last year were made to consumers younger than 35. Poor people stay poor by trying to look rich. Rich people stay rich trying to act poor. They're both good liars.
Well, that and nowadays luxury brands are highlighted with like the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's, Versace, Yves Saint Laurent, like Dior. When in reality, rich people and wealthy people still wear luxury brands all the time. They're just wearing the brandless ones per se, like Tom Ford, for example. That's just one that comes to my mind. But yeah, they're wearing like Tom Ford suits and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of times the rich and wealthy people, they don't care for the flashiness of modern day fashion with the all over prints, the weird influx of color palettes and stuff like that, in which these luxury brands still just make, especially for a high profile person or one that's got a nice pocket. Make them some basic suit and whatnot. It's just, they're just not wearing what you see fake rich people wearing, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's not important.
And even just to add that, we'll take a real world example of you see Mark Zuckerberg. Or we'll say the classic Steve Jobs look with the black turtleneck, the blue jeans, and the gray New Balances. Very simple look,
mm-hmm.
but you know damn well how much money that man has. And then, we'll say for okay, because that was for Steve Jobs. We'll go for Mark Zuckerberg. Some of the photos you see Mark Zuckerberg, he is dressed pretty bummy. But that man is making bank.
It's also because he's a fucking weirdo. But yes, I mean, that dude is just socially awkward. I don't think he understands fashion whatsoever. But he doesn't need to because he's got a lot of fucking money. No one can tell them nothing. I found an article from 2019 about the Gucci thing that you just mentioned. And like I said, this is from July 15th, 2019. Gucci CEO Marco Bizzarri spoke about his brand success with young customers. Their numbers are remarkable. 62% of Gucci's $8 billion in sales last year, 2018 at that time, came from customers who are 35 and under, millennials. In the brand's fastest growing segment is customers 24 and under, Gen Z. Nuts. That says something, man.
They're eating it up.
Yeah, they're eating it up. And I mean, depends on what you're buying from these luxury brands, man. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't. Because the resale business has also been a big thing in the past handful of years. It's like you can't go buy basic luxury goods and expect to make money off them. Just like how you can't walk to the Kia dealership or even like the Mercedes dealership, buy a Mercedes off the lot and expect to make your money back with it, because it's nothing special. It's just one of their basic production lineup cars, just like a lot of these clothing. But the misconception with the young kids that, ooh, I bought this Gucci shirt, but I don't even want it anymore, but it's still Gucci, which means I'm going to sell it for a lot of money. That's not the case. Anyone can go buy probably the same shirt and or a new variation of it. So if anything, you're benefiting by selling it, because then the other person could just buy a designer luxury shirt for cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just in the moment splurge spending, really. But yeah, no, that's insane though. That I never knew that stat.
So we'll continue. Number 3. Poor people think rich people know celebrities. When it comes to wealth, the only kind poor people know is what they see on TV or social media, thus associating celebrities with wealth. By the simple association, most people assume it must equal correlation. Alright, that's where I had it. If you're rich, you must know celebrities because you must be some kind yourself. And, although there are some exceptions, as in some rich people might have some celebrity friends, it's more so they themselves are the celebrity and others know them. Like, we'll say top 10 richest people in the world. We'll say, the people below them, they definitely know them. Mm-hmm. But how many people do those people up there know people down?
Probably not many.
Probably not. It's like, I've heard of them. But
yeah,
it's like, do you know them? Like, we could say, we'll put Elon Musk as an example. So, yeah, I know Elon Musk. Elon Musk know you? Probably not.
Maybe he's heard of me, but does he know me? No. Yeah, that's a good point.
You ain't coming up on that radar.
It's like women don't date down. Rich people don't care what's below.
The people you can see living a type of lifestyle do have a certain wealth to them, but there are others who you don't see that trump their value tenfold. We'll say the people who are the big ballers, posting everything on Instagram, they look ballin'. We'll say people who have a shit ton of more money, we'll say like the big oil people, big old oil folks, you don't know what the hell they're doing.
You don't even know their name.
Yeah. But they got that dough.
It's like, you know some of their names, but you don't know anything about them. Like the Rockefellers, or the biggest ones, the Rothschilds. Those motherfuckers, the Rothschilds in particular, they've ran the world for centuries now. Who knows how much money they got?
Yeah.
You'll never know. Because honestly, their money is infinite. Because they control the world, so they can get as much fucking money as they want. Like, what their stopping power is... Or like, Elon Musk's net worth is just pocket change to them. Because, like I said, they don't have a ceiling of how much money they can have. Really. As of now. I mean, that could change, but...
Yeah.
Just crazy to think about.
Number 4. Poor people think rich people have a master plan to keep everyone else poor. Believe it or not, the rich actually want the poor to have more money. If the poor have more money,
it helps them.
They can engage in more commerce, thus making the rich even richer. they want you to have more money because you'll make them more money. Because, like we said, once you come into, once you acquire a ton of money, your first thought's, oh, I want to spend it. Who's running the businesses that produce the products that you want to spend your money on? The rich people. So
it's the inverse though. The people that it's like the politicians that say they want you, they don't want you to have more money. But yeah, it's interesting, and those are people that everyone listens to. It's an interesting dynamic.
So, rather than thinking of wealth classes as in rich, middle, and poor, think in the terms of builders and consumers. Some people produce products that others buy and use. And there's other people some people produce products, and there's others that people buy those products and use those products. Almost every rich person is a builder. If you're unable to build or create value, how do you expect to become rich?
That's a great point.
Number 5.
You can't.
Poor people think the rich pay more in taxes than they do. That's a big one. Big one.
Everyone, Trump doesn't pay anything in taxes, blah, 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 blah.
Show me the tax records. Show me your tax returns. Show me, eat the rich, tax the rich, feed the poor.
Yeah.
It sounds all good on paper. Yeah. But
if you're one that's questioning that, then just pay attention here.
Some can regard this as a touchy subject, but it's the truth. Yes, the rich do pay substantially more in yearly taxes than the poor. However, people need to understand that the rich actually pay less of a percentage than lower classes. Because they have so much money. Yes, they pay a ton in taxes. But the percentage that they have to pay is a lot less. We'll say average consumers, what is it, 20-30% in taxes?
You want the average tax bracket or something?
Yeah. Even if we can't find it, I'll say 20 to 30% of my paycheck.
Give what do you think a basic income level is? Oh. You want let's just do for a married couple, you want to say 19 to 80?
Yeah.
2020, it's about 12%. Yeah, if you make that tax rate 12% for a married couple, that makes 19 to 80,000. 12%.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, but that's filing jointly, so two people together only make up to 80. Now, if you go to the next level, which is 80 to 171, that's 100,000. It's up 22%, so it drastically jumps up. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing with a lot of wealthy people. Wealthy people are good with money. So yeah, there's some that pay some taxes. But then you get the Donald Trumps of the world, who's a master of real estate, or was, probably still is, in which, you and I know this, when you have appreciating assets that make you money, just take loans against those motherfuckers. Yeah. And you're making all that money back that you took off the loan, and then you're taking it out in cash, which isn't a taxable event because you're just taking cash out. And guess what? You don't pay any taxes. That's why you never pay taxes. It's not doing anything illegal. Anyone can fucking do that.
There's a bunch of legal tax evading loopholes.
Yeah,
that are available to you. You're
just stupid. Yeah, and you don't know that.
You just don't know it because they don't teach you this.
Yeah, because why would they? Because that's a perfect way to avoid and pay taxes.
Yeah. So your taxation as an employee is different than taxation as a company.
Yes.
Due to a ton of incentives and tax breaks offered to those companies.
Yes.
We can go into details on how the rich pay less taxes than the poor in another video if you would like. So just be sure to leave a comment and down below if you want us to make a video about that. But yeah, we touched basically a little bit on it. There's a bunch of tax breaks.
Here's one real quick. Why do you think that every well-known wealthy person has a foundation? And I'll just Google it real quick. You can take that off if you're doing charitable donations.
It's
wage income.
It's a tax deductible.
Yeah, and that's why you got like the Clinton Foundation shit, which are just some of the most corrupt things in the world. But the Clinton Foundation, right? It's a charitable donation. It's genius. It really is. No matter how much I hate that lady, it's genius. I can't knock it.
Yep. Legal. It's all legal. Mm-hmm. It's all legal.
Y'all motherfuckers are giving. I guess I shouldn't say you directly, the listener, but people are giving money to these foundations. They don't even know what they're really giving it to. If anything, if you're going to give money to a foundation, one, do your research on it. Two, give it to a not popular one, because most popular donations or foundations are all corrupt, like the American Red Cross, like the Clinton one, the Obama Foundation, like the Rockefeller Foundation. I mean, those are all corrupt, evil fucking foundations that do the exact opposite of what you give your money for. Or like AP, what's that dog one? They always play the super sad commercials.
Yeah,
that's another one. In
the arms of an angel.
Yeah, that one. I mean, I was reading about it not too long ago, like the World Wildlife Foundation. Like, bro, they don't use that shit to fucking keep animals like from going extinct. No. Exact opposite. It's fucked up. What are you looking for?
Oh, I had like this picture that was just like, think before you donate to some of these foundations, just because like, it looks all good on paper, but they don't do fucking shit. And you know, some of them like you were talking about, like I know one of them that they had on here was about Goodwill. It's like you donate to Goodwill for free, but then they sell that shit for a profit.
Yeah, how does that make sense? I mean, like, it's messed up, man, because the reason you're donating something for free is because you don't need it and you're actually trying to help someone. Well, why that? I mean, I get it. That's how Goodwill makes some money, right? But why the hell should you give something for free and then they fucking sell it? When you're trying to give that thing directly to someone for free because you don't need it.
Yeah.
So it's either you're better off trying to sell what you're selling or getting rid of, or genuinely just give it to like some local thing. Give it to some local thing. Like a... Yeah. You get the idea. Don't use Goodwill.
Number 6. Poor people think rich people are good at saving money. This can sound confusing, but we'll explain this. Poor people make the best use of what money they do have, but the problem is they don't have enough to save and invest. Rich people, on the other hand, are typically bad savers because money saved is money that's not growing.
Yep.
Rich people focus on increasing income, while poor people focus on cutting down expenses. Income is staying the same. Like we said in the one episode about getting your money right, you know, you're going to want to implement both of these. You're going to want to increase your income while also decreasing your expenses. So you have money to, say, invest or save to invest later on. It's not just saving to saving. It's saving to invest later on. Or, you know, having an emergency fund set up just for whatever happens. Because, as we were saying in that one episode, you know, too many people nowadays are living paycheck to paycheck. Or even worse, they're living paycheck to paycheck, but those paychecks don't even cover their expenses. Like, they're still in the hole living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how many hours they're working.
I'm Googling that right now because I'm curious. This is a recent article. The majority of U.S. consumers live paycheck to paycheck. According to the research, 54%.
Damn.
Of 125 million U.S. adults. With 21% of the population struggling to pay their bills, meaning they have little or no money left after spending their income. That's nuts, man. That's pathetic. It's unreal.
Rather than being good at saving money like the poor think, rich people are actually good at investing money. Get good at investing money. And, I mean, keep your saving money skills at the same, or we'll say increase it, just because, you know, a lot of people, I'll say it again, they get the money, they spend it.
Here's an example. This is the same article. Nearly 40% of those with annual incomes over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck.
Holy shit.
Including 12% struggling to pay their bills. And that's an example right there, though. When, with like everything that exists nowadays, it's all about just flaunting, showing that shit off. It's like people have been dumbed down into actually putting their money to use, and that doesn't mean buying a cool car. I didn't expect to see that. 40% making $100K more.
It makes sense.
And then, then there's the 50% I just mentioned, and then 72% who make less than 50K with paycheck to paycheck, 33% struggling to pay their bills. Well, then, obviously, most big cities have the highest density of population, and I don't know any big city off the top of my head that's cheap, right? And, not to make it a political thing, but I want to see, if they could narrow it down to that. Between liberal and conservative. Because I guarantee, if we'll just take those stats and make it 100%, right? I would guarantee 85 at least is all liberal. I guarantee it. Like I said, I'm not trying to make it a political battle, but that's just a guess of mine.
Yeah. I'll say to stray away from anything political, it's, typically, I don't know if we already discussed this, but people who, have an increased income, tend to believe, they must increase their lifestyle and their expenses as well. It's like, oh, okay, well, my income can cover this. I can increase my expenses. That's not how you want to be. Man. Yeah.
If you get bumped up from 17 an hour to 20 an hour, it shouldn't be, I gotta spend $3 extra. No, it should be, you should save $3 extra.
Yeah, it's like, I got a promotion. I should reward myself a brand new car, down payment on a new house.
Yes, stuff. If it makes sense. Financially, it makes sense. Because, usually if you get an incentive bonus or wage increase, you did a good job. So, yes, you can reward yourself, but after a sustained amount of time, would it make sense? Yeah, account for those rainy day funds, I think you just mentioned earlier. Have a little bit in savings, but keep putting that money to work.
Yeah, you gotta have your money work for you.
Yeah,
or you're gonna be working for your money for the rest of your life.
Because as you've heard a lot lately, inflation, right? You're guaranteed to lose some of your money every year. I can probably look it up, but that's a guarantee that's going to happen. You're going to lose money to inflation. But have more money working for you than against you.
Yeah. It's the inflation part of the economy. It's really sliding under the radar from a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's the idea is there, but it's in people's blind spots. It's I know you're there. I'm not going to check. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But as Eric looks up that statistic, we're just continuing for number 7. Poor people think the rich have all the answers. So everyone assumes that because you can figure out the money side of life, you must have the tools to figure out all other parts of life. This is false. Sure, there may be transferable traits, but it takes more than being good with numbers to solve the many problems life throws at us. Rich people don't have all the answers, but they do know how to look for them, be it through research in books, articles, etc., or through people. If there's a problem, rich people will search for a solution, while the poor will be stuck on just that problem.
Yeah. Shit, I can't remember. I saw it on Hedgeye, but I think it's a couple percent. Every year you lose, we'll just don't quote me. I'm probably wrong, but it's 5%. You lose 5% of your cash holdings to inflation every year.
That value.
I think it's something like that.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, at that one point, Subway was $5 footlong.
Yeah.
Now it's damn near like $8.
Look at gas. I mean, it might be different for maybe where some of you guys live. But around here, for the longest time, it was fluctuating around $2.50. And now it's consistently like $3.20.
Yeah, I think it was like we said in that one episode, after that one hack, where all the eastern states, coastal states, were hit, and then those prices increased substantially, and then there was a bunch of people fighting and waiting to get gas. It's as if those prices just made their way up here and stuck. Like, I haven't done any. I haven't.
She wants
looked into it and see, if that pipeline or whatever got fixed. But they were saying, all right, yeah, it's gonna get fixed, and gas prices are gonna come down. But
here, this is inflation.
They just stayed.
So I'm just showing the chart. This is oil per gallon. This is at the start of the year. Oh, what do I know? Hang on. It was like $42 a gallon at the start of the year. Now it's 72. There you go. That's it. So the cost of a gallon of oil has gone up almost 50% in the year.
It's $1. Value of dollar.
Yeah,
it's going down. Yeah,
yeah. It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
$5 footlongs, 4 for 4s.
Is that still a thing? 4 for 4?
I don't think 4 for 4s are a thing anymore.
Damn.
Same thing as 2 for 5. Or I think it was 2 for 4 at one point. Then it was 2 for 5. Now it's 2 for 6. Now it's buy one get one for $1. It's all these sound good deals, but it's all because of inflation and the value of the dollar going down.
Mm-hmm. 2 for 4 breakfast. I'm looking it up. See if I can find out when these. Oh, I guess you still got 4 for 4.
Oh, all right. Well, looks like we still got the 4 for 4.
No, but and not like this one specifically, but you're right. Like, I mean, think about how many times they're constantly changing those deal promotions. The big one I remember seeing for the first time was the McChicken. It would always be 99 cents, and then I remember this one time I went, it was like $1.20. Weird. Yeah, and the easiest way to just, if someone's like, dude, inflation's not real or not, just show them a chart of oil. Just US oil. That's all you gotta look at, man. Like, that's ridiculous. Or just like the price of like the S&P 500 never goes down, but you show them the price of Bitcoin. I mean, like, yeah, there's a ton of buying volume, but it's also inflation, right? Because people's purchasing power is just being inflated. Same thing with like a lot of equities and whatnot. That's why it's just going up so much. Just inflation. It's awesome. And I mean, inflation is great if you know how to use it. Now, if you're stupid and you can't put your money to work, then you're fucked. But if you know how to use inflation to your benefit, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks I have to pay a little bit more in gas, but I ain't complaining.
Yeah.
But you can't deny that's real.
Okay, number 8. Rich people, or poor people, think the rich are less stressed than them. Something most people don't realize is just how much more gets added to your plate of things to do in a day as your wealth increases. Every single investment you make comes with a price. Every single investment you make comes with a price. It will make you money, and in exchange, it will take a piece of your mind. The more things you have to juggle, the more stressed out you will become. The empire most people envision they tend to build and rule will evidently rest upon their shoulders, because they are the rulers. The fate of their empire is entirely dependent on them and their decisions. That's pretty stressful. We'll say, look at the presidents. They look fresh in the beginning, but towards the end of their term, that power and stress takes a toll. Perfect example of this, I would say, it's just Obama. He looking fresh. 2008, but he had 2 terms. End of it, he's got gray hair. He's looking beat to shit. And I mean, that's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress.
Yeah, let's see. Let's look at a picture of him.
it's also like what Biggie said in that one song: "More money, more problems."
Right there, man. I mean, it's 8 years of your life, but yeah. I mean, I don't like this guy, but yeah, there's no doubt. Every presidency is different as well for people. Yeah, when he first, I mean, you could see like he had no real salt and pepper, and then
Look up the mayor of Chicago.
Mayor of Chicago.
Yeah. Stress was kicking her ass.
Oh God, that. Oh man, look at this. This chick looks like a fish, man. Huh. No wonder Chicago's a shithole. They got a woman in charge. Just kidding. Actually, I'm probably not wrong.
I think she was okay at one point, but then I think through
What the fuck is this? Just kissing some dyke
through beer bug and everything that was happening, it took a toll.
Dude, this lady's looking like fucking Jar Jar Binks with her fish eyes, man. This is weird. Anyhow.
But yeah, I mean, just because, you know, you see rich people, you know, having lavish vacations and such and so forth, does not mean that they're not stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, if you look at the, you know, everyone talks about a work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll take like Elon Musk for example. Like his work is his life. He's never not working.
Yeah.
And then in the interviews with Joe Rogan, he talked about like how his brain is still firing on all cylinders as he sleeps.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what it said, but he gives himself like not even an hour to not be doing something. I mean, it's just how some people work. But it's also people who have a lot on their plate have a lot of people to share those plates with. They have a lot of people at the dinner table, which is important. Like, unless you really want to be a fucking freak, in which it might come to bite you in the ass. If you want people that are there to help you and that you trust to help you, let them help you. Right? You don't gotta do everything yourself. Now you want to foresee, and you want to be the foreman of your whatever, right? But have people help you. Just oversee it. Yeah. Don't do everything yourself.
Move on to number 9. Poor people think rich people spend all their days drinking cocktails on the beach. If you ask the average person what they would do if they were instantly rich, they'd probably say they would travel the world and sip cocktails all day on the beach. This is a fantasy sold to you by the great marketers of the world when looking at retirement. You know, it's just like, oh, you'll retire at that age, you'll have money, you'll be able to do everything you wanted to do in your youth, but, you know, now you don't have those responsibilities, you have money, yada, yada, yada. It's number 1 bullshit.
Shout Habib.
The average executive spends 23 hours per week in meetings. They ain't drinking cocktails all day on the beach.
And when they are, they're really enjoying it because they don't get it that often.
The vision of relaxing settings and vacations is also fueled by social media platforms like Instagram. You know, rich people embody the saying of work hard, play hard, but you only see it when they play hard and are on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You never see the behind the scenes and hard work that needed to be done in order for them to have that vacation.
Yeah, and a lot of, like, just because of how people's minds work, a lot of times they're just always moving. So it looks like they're always on vacation when really, no, they just got to switch up what they're looking at, which I would agree with that 100%. Take your mind off looking at the same goddamn wall the whole time. I mean, they all have their own, like, headquarters, right? But they're just traveling a lot, too, just to get a different visual. Doesn't mean they're not working, though.
Yeah, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears is definitely poured out for them to have said flashy vacation.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't not work.
Another thing people forget about is what time in the morning, if they even go to bed, they do get up in the morning. They get up at like 4 in the fucking morning. 5.
Yeah, some Jocko shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, Keith from Hedgeye, he's up at 4:30 in the morning every day. And they're on their grind. Because, I mean, the business don't sleep a lot of times, man. Don't sleep.
Yeah, there's a lot of sleepless nights too, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sleepless nights. It's like, shit, I'll sleep and I'm done.
Yeah.
Now I'm grinding. I'm locked in. I'm grinding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it's something a lot of people don't.
It's forgotten.
Understand.
And or doesn't even know exists. Yeah.
So we'll move on. Number 10. Poor people think the rich never worry about money. A secret not known to many is that the rich are actually scared out of their minds that one day, one mistake they make could cause them to lose it all. And it's quite understandable. They've worked so hard for most of their lives to build something of value and are continually working hard to preserve it. When you have money, there's a lot more at stake. Money is basically a multiplier for anxiety. I'm going to use Joe Rogan experience again with his interview with Kevin Hart. I believe the first one. It was like he was saying he's worked so hard to be where he's at, and it's not like he's gonna stop working because he is that afraid of losing it.
Yeah, because it's that easy. It's so much easier for something to get torn down than put back up.
Yeah, like when you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. But when you have everything, you have everything to lose.
Especially depending on what kind of figures you're working with, man. Like if one bad deal goes wrong, it could be a lot of money. Or if like your reputation, depending on if you're well known in the public eye or not. Say your reputation gets tarnished somehow, man. Then you're gonna lose a lot of influx of opportunity calls, right? That's why it's fucked up when you see some of these people getting these false accusations against them of sexual assault and whatnot. I mean, if they did, then yeah, they're a piece of shit. But a lot of times they didn't, and now they're just getting smeared by this shit, in which that ruins possibly their life, right? That they've worked so hard for, just for someone else's attention and money.
Move on. Number 11. Poor people think rich people have no real skills. How often do you see average people look down on rich people when it comes to getting down and getting your hands dirty type of activities? This comes from the misconception, from the fact that you never see rich people doing things most average people usually do, such as changing the oil in their cars, washing clothes, or cleaning the house. The truth is that these are basic skills that anyone can learn and perform in a short period of time. Also, skills that have a low economic value. If anyone can do it, it's easy to find people who will. Once you acquire a high-value skill, you're more inclined to monetize that one and outsource everything else for less. Wealth isn't just money, it's also time. Why would I waste my time doing X thing when I could pay someone else to do it, and I can use my time to focus on Y thing that makes even more money than I paid someone to do X? If that makes sense.
Yeah, or like it's more valuable. It's more valuable to have an hour to listen to someone talk than to directly get money from them. Imagine having, if you were an aspiring person, not an aspiring entrepreneur or something like that, and you had the opportunity to maybe even have his contact permanently. We'll just say have Jordan Belfort's an hour or two just to pick his brain. That's the first person that came to my mind. You know how invaluable that is? Timeless information. And it's worth more than money.
Yeah. It's alright, I gotta go close this business deal. But I have to vacuum my house. It's just why would I not go close the business deal when I could pay someone to vacuum my house for a lot less than I'm going to be making for this business deal?
Yeah.
I gotta focus on the business deal. If I have the money to pay someone to do it, I'm going to have them do it. It's not like I can't do it. Mm-hmm. That's what people fail to realize.
Yeah, why the hell am I going to spend an hour of my time doing my laundry? I mean, I could just go close this X amount of $1 million deal, just pay someone to do it for me. Or you got someone already there to do it. I don't know.
We have number 12. Poor people think the rich want to be on the Forbes list. As we age throughout our lives and on the subject of money and wealth, there are going to be people we want to prove wrong. Being on the Forbes list or on the cover of a profile magazine is something that will toot our own horn and prove wrong all those who doubted us. But as we mature from a financial perspective, we'll start to question if all the positive PR we're receiving is worth all the messages from people asking for handouts. The truth is that there are people who pay to be on the Forbes list, and there are others who pay to not be mentioned.
Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if the Forbes list is bought and paid for at this point. Maybe it is, I don't know. But like I said, I personally I wouldn't want to be on it. I don't need gratification or assurance from a bunch of random people like, oh, good job, you made it to the Forbes list. Like, no, I already know within myself that, like, damn, I made it. Like, I could be on that if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's just like your value is just projected too much out there, and then yeah, if other people can tell how much money you have, they're gonna come looking for it. Mm-hmm. They're gonna pull every string they can, every little thing. It's like, we went to the same nursery back when we were little babies.
Like, exactly, but it's true though. As soon as people of your past that maybe still have a way to contact you find out like what you're packing, then instantly they're your best friend. And that's why, as we've mentioned time and time again on here, you gotta reevaluate who's in your circle.
Yeah.
Something I read recently. I just finished reading, Green Lights. I don't think I mentioned this to you yet. Just finished reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Great book. He's talking in there about how after he became famous, instead of his mom being his mom, his mom became his number one fan. Like she had like people going through his house, like live cameras and showing his whole life and stuff like that. Instead of being there to support him as a mother, she just became a super fan, and he like cut her off for years. What you gotta do, because there's people that will turn and do some shit like that. They'll just use you in your resources. Like, you haven't watched Derek Lewis and Joe Rogan, right? Like,
no,
Derek Lewis
I know there was that one clip we watched.
Yeah, he changes his phone number all the time, and somehow they still get his number. But people that are family, I use that with air quotes, family of his, just always ask him for shit. He's always changing his phone number, like a couple times a year, even more than that.
We'll continue. Number 13. Poor people think the rich don't help the poor. Most people expect rich people you don't know to just give you free shit you haven't earned or don't deserve. Almost everything of value in society is the brainchild of someone who is now rich because they solved the problem. This is something most people do not understand. Remember when you had to memorize things? Now you can just Google it and find an answer. Thanks to whoever made Google,
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name.
Also, with rich people creating companies that create useful products, it also creates jobs. Thank you. Now we have jobs. What the poor people expect is for rich people to give them money directly with no questions asked. And it's not just, them creating companies that create products that solve a problem. Because that's basically what goes through their minds. Like, all right, what's a problem? What can we make to solve it? It can be like super simple stuff.
Yeah.
But, they thought it, they did it. Now they need it. Now they need people to run it. When you start hiring people, people have jobs.
Yeah, it's once again the people don't want, or the term fairness, right? People don't want to work for anyone more. They just want the outcome. And they're always attacking people like Jeff Bezos. It's like, he has so much money, he could give all of us Americans X amount of money and still have this amount left. Like, yeah, sure he could, but what would that do? Just give you guys a bunch of free money that you're probably just going to go waste. Not going to teach you anything. And of course you can do that if you want to.
Yeah, I think people have said the same thing for, like, the richest people paying off the...
student loan thing?
Yeah, the student loan debt. I think it's, like, maybe the national deficit. Maybe I'm wrong, because I think that's a huge fucking number. But
for student loans.
Regardless, you wouldn't be grateful for it. If they did do it, you wouldn't be grateful. Like, you'd be grateful in the beginning.
You go get yourself in debt somewhere else.
Yeah, but then you'd be another person asking for handouts. Like, okay, sure, they gave you this, no questions asked. When it's done, you're gonna go back to that person.
It's 1.7 trillion at the end of 2020.
Student loan. Yeah, he can pay it off and still have some. He could give a ton of people a bunch of money, and he'll still have some. But that's not the point.
That's not the point. Y'all motherfuckers got yourself in the situation in the first place to go take out some stupid loan for some stupid degree that's now worthless and they can't pay it back. That's no one else's fault other than your own. Stop bitching.
Yeah, and, as we were saying, for a lot of, like, charitable donations and foundations, we don't know how they spend their, we don't know how the money gets spent, but they're still donating, charitable amounts to said foundations. It's like, once you get rich and wealthy, you live and you give like nobody else because you can.
Mm-hmm. I
know maybe it was something about Bezos, but, on the topic of, like, Richard Branson, going to space and commercializing all that stuff, people were complaining. It's just like, these people can go in space, but there's people on Earth that are hungry.
That's not their fucking
problem. I'm like,
problem.
that's not their problem. Like, we'll say even people who are not even that wealthy. They're like, or how do I want to put this? Yes, it's not their problem. But we'll say people who are not even are wealthy are still eating way too much food while other people are starving. The obesity rate in percentage is way too fucking high. How can you be complaining about not having food to eat? Well, damn, it's just like, it's not their problem. Like, it should be your problem. It's like, okay, they're not doing anything, but what are you doing? Are you doing something as well?
Right? No, I mean, like, they work so hard to get to where they're at. Why is it they're all of a sudden, just because they work so hard to get to where they're at, their problem to get your fat ass or your bum ass on the right track? It's not. It's like, I was listening to some people talk about San Francisco yesterday. Like, San Francisco, really just California in general, is a shit show when it comes to homeless people. But San Francisco, they're just so nice to these homeless people there to the point where they're not incentivized to get their bum ass off the street. Like, in LA, I saw that the city has like $1 billion budget for homeless people.
Shit.
$1 billion, and there's still that many people. Like, I'm gonna look it up. Homeless rate in fucking LA. But how the hell do you still have a ton of people homeless with that kind of budget to help them? I mean, in reality, you shouldn't fucking help them anyways. It's their goddamn problem. But you gotta get them off your streets at some point.
Yeah, and we continue how, like, poor people think the rich are not helping. It's like, who are the people, financing, ways to bring clean drinking water to places that don't have it? The fucking rich people. We'll say, like, electricity to places that don't have electricity. Solar energy and such and so forth. That stuff ain't cheap. Who's financing it? Mm-hmm. The rich people. Mm-hmm. And you guys are complaining about things that you aren't even helping.
Yeah. According to ABC 7 from this year, March 19th, it says about, it could be more than this, but 568,000 people in the United States are experiencing homelessness, with 151,000 in California, 66,000 some change in Los Angeles County, and 41,000 in LA. It's a lot of fucking people. A lot of well, actually, now that I really think about it, damn, that's a lot of homeless people. Think about that. A lot of fucking homeless people. And that's just LA. And it's no surprise that a quarter of all of them are in California.
Yeah, we'll say to go with that homelessness, like, who's financing projects for affordable housing? The fucking rich people. They're trying to help you out. You think they're not trying to help you out?
Yeah.
Some delusion.
Yeah. Or it's like, who do you think is keeping you homeless? The dumbass motherfuckers you elect in there anyways. I mean, yeah. It goes both ways. There's rich people that are always trying to help, and then they're the ones who get attacked. And then there's the ones that don't get attacked. They're actually pushing people down.
Pushing you down without you knowing.
Because you're too dumb.
So, we'll end on that one, or at least that bullet point. We'll go to the next one. Number 14. Rich people, or poor people, think rich people have everything. When every problem you have in your life is a money problem, those who have money seem to have it all. But the moment you fix the money problem, you're left with everything else. Rich people surround themselves with other rich people, so money is not a differentiator. They all have the same societal pressures and issues to deal with, like everyone else. Jim Carrey once said, "I think everyone should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer." Ask yourself, what is one thing you really thought would change your life until you were able to do it or afford it? As what Eric was saying earlier in the podcast. There's a bunch of things that you think, oh, I get this, I'll be here. But once you get it, you're at the same place. I could say this at least, like financially, with me, acquiring a set dollar amount of money, thinking. I remember, like, before I even got there, I was like, yeah, but once I get here, it's gonna be so great, and life's gonna be good. But I got there, and more. And I just look at that number, like, well, I'm here. Ain't shit change, except I don't got no change. Same person. It's just different number I see.
Yeah, you think like hitting, say, 5 figures is cool for a young person. It's nothing special. It's just numbers. No matter.
Yeah, it's like it's deeper than that.
Because you have to remember, you can't settle on anything. You can't be content to. I mean, don't not be like proud of yourself, right? But you make 100,000. Well, don't be content to just make 100,000. What's next for you? Got me more. Remember what I said? Was the last one? The one before that? Ceilings are man-made. Remember that. Don't put a ceiling on yourself. Because you don't know what you can do. Especially what the mind can do. Yeah. And what you constantly hear about people who have made it big, right? That they dreamt too small. Dream big. Give yourself something to shoot for, right?
Yeah, I remember it was in Thinking We're Rich. It's shoot for the unobtainable.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to shoot for the unobtainable. Because if you shoot for the obtainable, once you obtain it, that's it for you. Mm-hmm. You set your mind in your mind to get what is obtainable, and you've achieved it. You've basically satisfied yourself, and then you question, oh, what if I shot for more.
Mm-hmm. Well, at that moment, you probably never will know unless you gotta reset your mind.
So, those were 14 things that poor people think rich people do, but actually don't. And, you know, we'll end it with this. Or at least the discussion part.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll end this somehow.
There's no nobility in poverty. The same way as there's no nobility in having money just to say you have money. The moment you stop playing status games where your actions are only to signal to society just how well you are doing, you will finally free your mind and be able to address the things that actually matter to you in your life. Wealth means your livelihood isn't dependent on your actions. It's money you make as you sleep and income from money generating assets. Stop caring about what others or what people outside your life think and go after what your life needs to be the way you want it to be.
Nice. You just got to free your mind from the programming that you've been accustomed to for your whole life.
Unlearn what you have learned.
It's not that easy.
Yoda.
Exactly. It's true, though. Unlearn what you've learned. It's like people that say they know everything. Well, they actually know nothing. I like to think I know a lot, but in reality, I know nothing. I still know a thing or two. That's it. You can never know everything in the universe, other than that split second, because the universe is always changing. You may know everything at 3:12 p.m. July 28th, sorry, but once it hits 3:13 p.m., you probably don't know everything anymore, because everything's always changing. So yeah, just free your mind. Go do some meditation, or pull a Joe Rogan. You ever done DMT?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we haven't. We don't endorse drugs.
No. Damn. That was a good conversation, man.
I'll turn it over to Eric for a recap, if he has one.
I've been trying. That was a good conversation, though, man. So, yeah.
Some good things to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's just elaborating on just more lies that are always spread. At least I think. I mean, we could be wrong in a lot of things that we said, but I think I am. But if I am, I am. Anyhow, just a few points. Definitely re-listen to this one, because there's a lot of things that just came up real quick, and definitely didn't get a chance to write them down. So, as Michael just said, this episode was about, talking about what poor people think rich people actually do. Well, here's actually how it goes. They think that they only drive, like, flashy supercars, which in reality, they may own them, but that's not all they drive. Only wearing luxury brands, not the case. Depending on who you're dealing with, a lot of them don't give a shit about that. They actually like things with value. Paying less taxes, that's true and false. Being good at saving money, they don't really save their money necessarily. I mean, they probably all have tons of cash reserves, but they're always putting their money to work. Use inflation to your benefit. There's just one I sprinkled in there. That rich people aren't stressful, or they're not stressed out. Man, they have to be on their guard 25/8, man. Gotta value your time. And the not giving back to people in need. That's all I got. Like, so I definitely missed some things in there, but yeah, that last one's the big one. Well, Jeff Bezos can pay off my student loans. He should do it because he has so much money. Fuck off, man. Pay it back yourself, bitch. Alright, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's the same thing as, like, it's basically just not taking accountability. It's like, okay, well,
exactly.
I'm going to get bailed out by someone. I'm going to get bailed out by mega billionaire, trillionaire. I think Bezos is close whatever.
It was 200-some billion. Probably unofficially. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what it could be. Well, and it's like, actually, you know what, to a certain extent, I get it. Why some of them are so annoyed with it. Because the Fed and all these people, they just bail out these fucking big corporations. So I get it to a certain extent, but just because they get doesn't mean that you should be content with complaining about it. Go work for it. Do it yourself. Don't put yourself on the same level as these rotten executives and stuff like that. Like these shitty airlines and these fucking cruise lines. Well, I guess the cruise lines didn't get it because they pulled that 200 IQ shit. They don't fucking have their headquarters here. But, yeah. Anyhow. Good discussion, man. Good discussion.
Yeah, great discussion. Let's
get out of here.
So, my beautiful listeners, be sure to like, dislike, comment your thoughts, good or bad, share and subscribe. Also, ring the bell so whenever we upload a new episode, you'll get a notification to stay up to date with the info we put out. We also keep updated on the Unlocking Success Instagram and Twitter, so be sure to follow us there at Unlocking Success. No G, because we keep it here. Follow me everywhere at Rich Homie Fang. You can follow Eric on Instagram at Eric_Eclipse. And on Twitter at I Am The Eclipse. That's the show. Hopefully you enjoyed and are one step closer to unlocking your definition of success. We love you and appreciate all the support, good or bad. Take care. Keep striving. And be sure to tune in Saturday for UFC Fight Picks number 7. UFC Vegas 33. Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, just made a new post on Instagram, so go like that shit, guys. Appreciate it. And then, peace out. Love y'all.
Peace out.
See ya.
Bye.